biting cold stings your lungs, your clothes are soaked, and hunger claws at your stomach. This isn't comfort, this isn't a history book, this is survival. For the next 24 hours, you are trapped in the Viking Age. And make no mistake, it will destroy you. Forget the myths of fearless warriors in shining armor. The real battle isn't only against swords and axes, it's against the world itself. Every breath burns, every step weakens you, every hour strips away your strength. The cold, the hunger, the endless pain, they are designed to break you. Your body will ache, your spirit will fracture, and your will to live will be tested beyond limits you never imagined. This is what 24 hours in the Viking Age really means. Before we continue, help me reach 1,000 subscribers so we can keep exposing history's darkest truths. Hit that subscribe button and like this video right now. You wake before the sun even thinks about coming up in a world of deep darkness. You are inside a longhouse, a large wooden building shaped like a boat upside down. The air inside is thick and heavy. It smells of smoke from a low burning fire, of damp earth from the floor, and of animals huddled close for warmth. You can also smell unwashed bodies, stale food, and the faint, unsettling scent of fear that seems to cling to everything. The cold bites at your skin, even inside the longhouse. It seeps into your bones, making your muscles stiff and achy before the day even begins. You can hear the quiet breathing of others sleeping around you. You hear the small sounds of the farm animals tied up at one end of the longhouse, their bodies also seeking warmth. Your eyes slowly get used to the gloom, but you can only see shadows. There are no lamps, no candles, just the dim, flickering light from the small fire in the center. The straw you lie on is thin and scratchy. Your sleeping furs are heavy, but don't fully block the bitter chill. You shift, trying to find a more comfortable spot, but there isn't one. Every part of your body feels sore. Your hands are rough, your feet are cold. You feel a low ache in your stomach, a familiar feeling of hunger that is always there. The fear is a quiet hum in your mind. Will there be enough food today? Will sickness come? Will raiders attack? These thoughts are not just worries. They are the constant background noise of your life. Outside the longhouse, the world is even more unforgiving. It is a harsh land where nature rules with an iron fist. The wind howls, carrying the promise of snow or biting rain. The trees stand bare and stark, their branches rattling like old bones. The ground is hard, frozen, or muddy, depending on the season. There are no soft paths, no smooth roads. Every step is a challenge. Every minute spent outside is a fight against the cold, against the wild animals, against the raw power of the land itself. You know that if you step out unprepared, the world will swallow you whole without a second thought. This is a place where every single person must be strong, both in body and in spirit, just to see the next sunrise. You wonder, what will truly break you first in this relentless world? Will it be the biting cold that never leaves? Will it be the constant ache of hunger in your stomach? Or will it be the unending fear that lives in your mind, reminding you of the dangers all around? The answer is not simple. It is a slow, grinding process, wearing you down piece by painful piece. This is not a life of comfort. It is a battle for survival. As the first faint light of dawn peeks through the smoke hole in the roof, your day truly begins. There is no time for comfort, no time to slowly wake up. You stand, your muscles protesting, still stiff from the cold night. The first order of business is food. You reach for a piece of stale bread, hard as a rock, and chew it slowly, trying to make it last. It has little taste, just a dry, earthy flavor. You wash it down with bitter water, cold and often tasting a bit muddy, drawn from a nearby well or stream. This is not a meal to enjoy. It is simply fuel to keep your body going. Even after eating, the hunger in your stomach still gnaws. It is never truly satisfied. Then the endless heavy work begins. This is not work done with machines or tools that make tasks easy. This is all done by hand, with simple, heavy tools. If you are a man, you might spend the morning chopping wood. The axe is heavy, dull, and the timber is often frozen solid, making each swing an immense effort. Your hands quickly become raw and blistered. The cold air fills your lungs with each gasp, but your body soon sweats from the sheer physical labor. The constant need for fuel to keep the longhouse warm means this task never truly ends. Piles of wood always need to be replenished, day after day, year after year. Every muscle in your arms, back and shoulders screams with pain. The danger of missing a swing and cutting yourself is always there, a sharp reminder of how quickly your life could change. Perhaps your task is to tend to the animals. You might be mucking out the stalls where the cows, sheep, and goats are kept, their smell heavy and strong. The ground is often a mix of mud, waste, and straw, making every step difficult. You carry heavy buckets of water and rough feed, your arms straining under the weight. Milking a cow in the cold morning air with stiff, numb fingers is a slow and painful process. The animals are your family's lifeline, providing food and materials, so their care is vital, even if it is dirty and tiring work. The cold makes everything harder, from tying knots to moving heavy feed bags. If you are skilled, you might be forging metal. This means standing near a roaring fire, hammering hot iron with all your strength. The clang of the hammer on the anvil fills your ears. Sparks fly, burning your skin if you are not careful. The heat from the forge is intense, but the rest of your body is still cold. The constant swinging of the hammer, hour after hour, builds strong muscles, but it also breaks down the body. Your arms ache, your back protests, and your ears ring. The focus needed is immense, as a single mistake can ruin hours of work or cause a serious injury. If you are a woman, your work is no less demanding. You might spend hours grinding grain by hand, pushing a heavy stone over another to make flour for the day's porridge. Your arms ache, your back bends, and the dust fills your nose. You might be weaving cloth, a long, slow process that requires great patience and careful handwork, often done with fingers numb from the cold. Cooking over an open fire, constantly stirring heavy pots, is also a task that demands strength and constant attention. Fetching water from the well, sometimes a long walk away, carrying heavy wooden buckets back, is another common chore that puts a heavy strain on your body. Every task, from cleaning to preparing food, is done with primitive tools and requires immense physical effort. By midday, your body feels like it has already done a week's worth of labor. Your muscles are burning, your hands are sore, and your back aches deeply. You are constantly aware of the need to conserve energy, to keep going, even when every cell in your body begs for rest. Would you last until midday in this world of endless, heavy work? Most likely, you would be pushed to your absolute limits, questioning if you could endure another hour, let alone another day. This is not just physical work. It is a constant mental challenge to overcome the pain, and exhaustion. As you go through your day, a constant shadow hangs over everything. Disease. In the Viking Age, a small cut on your hand could quickly become a death sentence without proper hygiene, clean water, or any real understanding of germs. Infections spread fast. A cut from your axe, a splinter from the wood you are chopping, or a blister on your foot could easily get infected. You would feel the pain worsen, see the skin around it turn red and swell, and eventually a fever might set in. There are no doctors as we know them, no antibiotics to fight off the infection, only old remedies passed down through families using herbs or poultices that rarely worked well. Often these infections would spread through the blood, causing agonizing pain and a slow, terrible death. Even simple illnesses were deadly. A common cold or flu, something we barely think about today, could quickly become pneumonia in this harsh environment. Living in close quarters in the Longhouse, sharing air with animals and many people, meant that sickness spread like wildfire. One person coughing could soon mean an entire family or village was sick. Your body, already weakened by constant work and hunger, would have little strength to fight off disease. A high fever could make you too weak to work, too weak to even move. If you couldn't work, you couldn't contribute to the family's survival, making your situation even more desperate. You would see children die young, often from illnesses that are easily curable today. You would see adults, strong men and women, suddenly struck down by a fever or an infected wound. The fear of sickness was a constant, nagging worry. It was a silent enemy, always waiting, always ready to strike. You would watch loved ones suffer, knowing there was almost nothing you could do. The helplessness would be overwhelming. The smell of sickness, the sound of coughing, the sight of a feverish face, these would be common parts of life. Sickness was not just an inconvenience. It was a constant shadow, a grim reaper waiting to claim its next victim. It was a reminder that your life, already so hard, could be taken from you at any moment, not by a warrior's sword, but by an unseen enemy that attacked from within. What time are you watching this? Morning, afternoon, or night? Comment below. Beyond the daily grind and the threat of disease, there was the constant gnawing pain of hunger. Meals in the Viking Age were simple, often the same thing every day. A thick, bland porridge made from oats or barley. Sometimes, if you were lucky, there might be a small piece of dried fish or salted meat to add to it. There were very few fresh vegetables, especially in winter. The food was not meant to be tasty or varied. It was simply there to fill your stomach and give you enough energy to do your work. But often, it wasn't enough. Hunger was not just a minor craving. It was a familiar friend, a constant ache in your stomach. It was a dull, persistent pain that made you feel weak and tired. It made it hard to focus, hard to think. Every task, from chopping wood to grinding grain, felt even heavier, even more tiring when your body was crying out for more food. You would always be thinking about the next meal, wondering if there would be enough, hoping that the crops would be good or the hunt would be successful. The food supply was always precarious, meaning it was never certain. If the crops failed because of bad weather, too much rain, not enough sun, or an early frost, your family could face starvation. There were no supermarkets to buy food from. If the hunting parties came back empty-handed, or if the fishing was poor, the family went hungry. This was not just a worry for yourself, but a chilling fear for your children. For the elderly members of your family who could not work. The thought of your loved ones slowly starving, their bodies growing thinner, their energy fading, would chill you more deeply than any winter wind. Food was not just about survival. It was about life itself. A good harvest meant hope. A bad one meant despair. You would eat every scrap, waste nothing. Bones would be chewed clean. Every last drop of broth would be drunk. The constant feeling of not being quite full, of always wanting more, would be a part of your everyday life. This deep, persistent hunger would affect your mood, your energy, and your outlook on life. It would make you irritable and quick to anger. It would make you feel weak and vulnerable. It was a reminder that you were always just one bad harvest or one failed hunt away from true disaster. This kind of hunger is something most people in modern times can barely imagine, a constant companion that shapes every decision and every thought. Beyond the struggles of daily life, there was an even darker threat: violence. Not all Vikings were raiders, but violence was a constant presence in the Viking Age, a grim reality that could strike at any moment. It wasn't just about big battles or foreign raids. Violence was woven into the fabric of everyday life. A simple argument over land or animals could quickly turn deadly. There were no police to call, no courts to settle disputes peacefully. Justice was often personal, and a blood feud, a long-running fight between families, could erupt from a single perceived insult or injury lasting for generations. If someone harmed your family, it was your duty to get revenge, and this cycle of violence could be endless. Imagine living in a world where you had to be constantly ready to defend yourself, your family, and your home. Weapons were not just for warriors, they were tools. Axes used for chopping wood could also be used for fighting. Knives used for preparing food could quickly become instruments of defense or attack. You would learn how to use them from a young age, not for sport, but for survival. The threat of a sudden attack from a rival clan or a desperate neighbor was always present. You would sleep with one eye open, listening for any unusual sounds outside the Longhouse. Every stranger was a potential danger. Every journey outside your village carried risk. Your life and the lives of your loved ones truly hung by a thread. There was no real safety net. If you were attacked, you had to fight. There was no retreating, no calling for help that would arrive in time. The consequences of losing a fight were brutal: injury, death, or even slavery. This constant danger would make you suspicious, cautious, and always on edge. It would shape your view of the world, making you believe that only the strong truly survived. The idea of living a peaceful, quiet life was a luxury few could afford. The memory of past violence, the scars on people's bodies, the stories of feuds and battles would be a constant part of your world. It would harden you, make you less sensitive to suffering. You would learn to be tough, to endure pain, and to face danger without flinching. This wasn't about being a hero, it was about basic survival. The threat of violence wasn't just physical, it was a psychological burden, a constant weight on your shoulders, reminding you that your existence was fragile and could be taken away in an instant. Would you survive in such a world? Yes or no, tell me, as the sun finally sets, plunging the world into deep darkness once more, you gather with your family inside the Longhouse. There are no streetlights outside, no electric lamps to chase away the gloom. The darkness is absolute, thick, and filled with unknown sounds. The wind howls outside, making the wooden walls of the Longhouse creak and groan as if in pain. Distant animal sounds, perhaps a wolf or some other creature of the night, add to the sense of isolation and danger. Inside, the small fire offers only a little light and warmth. Shadows dance wildly on the rough wooden walls, making familiar objects look strange and frightening. You huddle close with your family, seeking warmth from each other's bodies. There is no soft, comfortable bed awaiting you. Just your rough sleeping furs on the straw, a thin barrier between you and the cold, damp earth floor. Your bones ache with a deep, persistent weariness. Every muscle in your body screams from the day's endless labor. Your hands are raw and stiff, your feet sore and cold. You are physically and mentally exhausted, worn down by the constant struggle to survive. There is little conversation, just tired sighs and the quiet breathing of people too weary to speak. As you try to fall asleep, the worries of the day and the fears of tomorrow fill your mind. Will there be enough food tomorrow? Will sickness finally take hold of someone you love? Will enemies come in the night, breaking through the door? You are vulnerable here, even inside your home. The world outside is a dangerous place, and the night only makes it more so. There is no sense of true safety, no feeling of peace. You try to push these thoughts away, to find some moment of rest, but they cling to you like the smoke in the Longhouse. The Longhouse itself is still crowded, filled with the smells of animal and people. There is no privacy, no quiet space to escape. You are always aware of others around you, their restless movements, their quiet coughs. The cold seeps in through the walls, making it difficult to find real warmth. Sleep comes slowly, a fitful, shallow kind of rest. You are never truly deeply asleep, always half aware, listening, waiting. You are simply too tired, too worried, too cold to find true peace. Will you survive another night in this harsh world, to face another day just as grueling as the last? The question hangs heavy in the air, a silent burden that every person in the Viking Age carried to their restless sleep. We see brave warriors in movies and read about their epic journeys, full of glory and adventure. But the true story of the Viking Age was a world far different. A world of constant, grinding pain, unending hard labor, and a life that was often short and incredibly brutal. It was not a time for the faint of heart or the weak of spirit. It was an age that truly tested the human spirit in ways most people today cannot even begin to imagine. It was a life where every day was a battle, not always with a sword, but with cold, hunger, disease, and the constant threat of violence. The legacy of the Viking Age is not just about conquest or exploration. It is about the sheer, raw determination of people to simply exist. It is about waking up every morning to a brutal reality and finding the strength to face it, knowing that death could come at any moment from countless directions. It was a time where surviving one more day was an achievement in itself. It forces us to look at our own lives, at the comforts and safety we take for granted, and truly understand how much has changed. The stories we tell often forget the constant suffering, the aching bones, the empty stomachs, and the fear that never truly left. This was not just an age of warriors, it was an age of endless, relentless survival against incredible odds. If this story shocked you, if it made you think about history in a new way, help me reach 1,000 subscribers by subscribing now. And tell me in the comments which historical period's dark secrets you want uncovered next. Don't forget to like the video and join our community as we explore the hidden truths of the past. You are simply too tired, too worried, too cold to find true peace. Will you survive another night in this harsh world to face another day just as grueling as the last? The question hangs heavy in the air, a silent burden that every person in the Viking Age carried to their restless sleep. But the physical pain and constant fear are not the only burdens. There is a deeper weight pressing on your mind and spirit. Day after day, year after year, this life slowly hardens you. You start to lose the softness you once had, the small joys you might have felt in a different world. Empathy, the feeling for others, becomes a luxury. You see suffering all around you, but you must become numb to it to survive. If you felt every loss, every ache, every pang of hunger, you would simply break. So, you build walls around your heart. Your dreams, if you even remember them, might be filled with images of warmth or plenty, of a life that is easier. But when you wake, the bitter reality hits you instantly. There is no escape, not even in sleep. The contrast between your dreams and your waking world can be a heavy blow. A low hum of anxiety lives constantly in your mind. It is always there, beneath every thought, every action. It whispers of hunger, of sickness, of enemies. This background noise never truly goes away. Sometimes a wave of despair washes over you. The sheer impossibility of it all, the endless struggle, the feeling of being trapped. But you cannot give in to it. There is no time to wallow in sadness or fear. You must simply keep going. For yourself, or your family, this constant push, this denial of your own feelings, slowly chips away at your spirit. You become tough, yes, but also weary, always weary. Evenings in the Longhouse offer a small break from the physical labor, but the mental struggle continues. Around the low-burning fire, stories are told. These are the sagas, tales of heroes, gods, and great deeds. But these stories are not just for entertainment. They are lessons, warnings, and a way to pass on what matters in this brutal world. They speak of honor, of courage, and of revenge. They remind you of the dangers and the values needed to face them. Perhaps there is music, a simple tune played on a horn or a lyre. It is not complex music, but it offers a brief moment of shared humanity. It is a fragile sound in the vast, unforgiving silence of the night. Sometimes simple games are played, perhaps with carved pieces or bones. These are not games of leisure, but of strategy, of testing wit and quick thinking. Even in play, the lessons of survival are present. There is no luxury, no true leisure. Every gathering, every celebration is tied to the practical needs of life. A feast is a rare chance to eat well, not just a time for pure joy. It is a way to share resources and strengthen bonds. Community is essential for survival. You rely on your neighbors for help with harvests, for defense, for support in times of grief. Without each other, you would not stand a chance against this harsh world. But community can also be a source of tension. Disputes over land, over livestock, over honor can quickly escalate. The same people who help you survive can also become your deadliest enemies. Trust is hard-won and easily broken. You also look to the gods for guidance and strength in this unforgiving life. Odin, the All-Father, god of war and wisdom. Thor, the mighty protector, wielder of the thunder hammer. Far, Aja, goddess of love and fertility, but also of war and death. These are not gentle gods promising endless comfort. They are fierce, complex beings, reflecting the world you live in. They demand courage, honor, and a willingness to face your fate head-on. You might dream of Valhalla, the hall of heroes, where brave warriors feast with Odin after death. But what about the farmers, the women, the children, those who did not die in glorious battle? Their afterlife is less certain, perhaps a bleak realm beneath the earth. There is a strong belief in fate. Your path, your destiny, is already set. This can be a terrifying thought, knowing you cannot change the course of your life. But it can also be strangely comforting. It means you must simply endure what is given to you. You might take part in rituals or offer small sacrifices, hoping to please the gods or gain their favor. Perhaps a small carving left at a sacred tree or a prayer whispered before a difficult journey. It is a way to feel some small control in a world that offers none. The gods are part of your daily life, in the names you shout, the oaths you swear, the hopes you hold on to. They are distant and powerful, yet always present, guiding your steps through the darkness. But even with their help, the world remains brutal. As the night stretches on, the cold deepens. You feel the breath of the person next to you, hear their soft snores. The fire has burned down to embers, casting only the faintest glow. Your body shivers, even beneath the heavy furs. You might drift into a shallow sleep, filled with restless dreams. The sounds of the longhouse, the shift of an animal, the creak of wood, all keep you on edge. True, deep rest is a rare luxury. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, the blackness outside the smoke hole begins to lighten. The first faint hint of gray seeps into the sky. Another day is dawning. Your 24 hours in the Viking Age are technically complete. As you stir awake, nothing feels different. The cold is still there, biting and relentless. Your muscles still ache, protesting every move. The dull throb of hunger is still a constant companion in your stomach. You realize this isn't just one day. This is every day. This is the endless cycle of waking, working, eating too little, fearing, and trying to rest. The previous day was not an exception, it was the norm. The weight of this repetition can be soul-crushing. Knowing that the moment you open your eyes, you must face the same struggles, the same pain, the same dangers. There is no break, no holiday, no pause. The struggle to simply get out of your sleeping furs, to put your aching feet on the cold earth, feels immense. Every morning is a test of your will, your strength, your sheer determination to simply exist. The sun rises higher, painting the sky with pale, weak colors. But it brings no warmth, no comfort, no promise of an easier day. It only brings more light for more labor, more challenges. The world awakens, and so must you, ready to face it again. This endless cycle, this relentless grind, defines what it means to live in the Viking Age. It's not just a snapshot of 24 hours, it's the pattern of a lifetime. It is a life lived on the very edge, where survival is the only true goal. The challenges you faced, the pain you felt, the fears that gnawed at you, these were not unique to a single day. They were the constant companions of every man, woman, and child in this unforgiving era. Their lives were a testament to human endurance, beyond what most of us can comprehend. We see brave warriors in movies and read about their epic journeys full of glory and adventure. But the true story of the Viking Age was a world far different. A world of constant, grinding pain, unending hard labor, and a life that was often short and incredibly brutal. It was not a time for the faint of heart or the weak of spirit. It was an age that truly tested the human spirit in ways most people today cannot even begin to imagine. It was a life where every day was a battle, not always with a sword, but with cold, hunger, disease, and the constant threat of violence. The legacy of the Viking Age is not just about conquest or exploration. It is about the sheer, raw determination of people to simply exist. It is about waking up every morning to a brutal reality and finding the strength to face it, knowing that death could come at any moment from countless directions. It was a time where surviving one more day was an achievement in itself. It forces us to look at our own lives, at the comforts and safety we take for granted, and truly understand how much has changed. The stories we tell often forget the constant suffering, the aching bones, the empty stomachs, and the fear that never truly left. This was not just an age of warriors, it was an age of endless, relentless survival against incredible odds. If this story shocked you, if it made you think about history in a new way, help me reach 1,000 subscribers by subscribing now. And tell me in the comments which historical period's dark secrets you want uncovered next. Don't forget to like the video and join our community as we explore the hidden truths of the past.